Hey guys, John from the John Muir Show here, and as we've seen so many times in recent years, a lot of politicians on the left continue to go further and further to the left. Why, I'm not exactly sure, but it's led to some really radical proposals being thrown out there, such as now in the state of California, where Assemblyman Miguel Santiago is proposing getting rid of either celebrating George Washington's birthday or Abraham Lincoln's birthday, just a couple of the most famous presidents in the history of our country who really did a heck of a lot for the country. Yeah, wants to get rid of that because we need to make room for a new holiday instead. And what would that be? That would be recognizing May Day as an official holiday. Yeah, May Day, the holiday that's observed in a lot of socialist countries where they have parades through the streets for it and all that. Yeah, that one. I mean, not really surprising this would come from California, considering it is the most liberal state that you're going to find in the United States. And because you have Democrats controlling pretty much all forms of government at the state level, whether it's the governor's office, whether it is the legislative branch, when stuff like this gets suggested, there's a pretty darn good chance that it's going to end up being enacted. So at least in the state of California, this realistically could end up happening. And it just makes no sense whatsoever. You hear so many people nowadays trying to forget about our history. I mean, it's not just with this. How many times within the past couple of years have you heard that, we need to take this statue down here in the state of Wisconsin, on the UW-Madison campus, we need to remove the names from a couple of alumni of our school from however many decades ago because, we think that they might have had some ties to white supremacy groups, even though we don't actually have any proof that they were doing anything that would indicate that they were being white supremacists. But nonetheless, because we need to be politically correct and we need to try and, make sure that we don't start having a bunch of snowflakes protesting, we're just going to go ahead and cover up those names on our campus because we don't want anybody to be offended. Yeah, you see that happening more and more across this country. Statues, you have these calls, this statue needs to be taken down. This person was so terrible. And who are a lot of these statues that they're trying to take down? Yeah, it started with Confederate leaders, and now it's turned into people like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I mean, with people like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, the founding fathers, it was like, no, they were racist, so forget about everything else they did for the country. These guys, they engaged in racist acts. Jefferson had slaves. The statues, they need to come down. Look, I'm never going to advocate for slavery. Slavery is an absolutely despicable practice. Nobody here is trying to say slavery is a good thing. And you know what? No one was trying to say that these guys, engaging in having slaves was a good thing. That's not what we're saying. It's just, look, you have these statues of these people. Everybody has flaws. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us. But why are you trying to just completely wipe out people from our history that were so influential to our history? I mean, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, trying to, forget about, celebrating these guys' birthdays. Who cares what they did? George Washington, he was really important on the battlefields when we were fighting the British. Went on to be our first president, set a lot of good precedents. Abraham Lincoln, helped abolish slavery. But forget about their little contributions they did. We're just going to wipe them from the map. Let's pretend they ever existed. Yeah, so if we're going to get rid of them just because we saw flaws in their character, I mean, what's going to happen? Because usually when you see something happen in the past that, you don't really want to repeat, it's not ideal. The point is remembering it so you don't repeat it, so you don't have to make the same mistakes again. As a country, if we just try and cover up everything negative from our past, guess what's going to happen? Within a couple of generations, people are going to have no idea about the mistakes that have been made in this country's history. And guess what? Because they don't know about them, because they don't know, hey, things ended up badly, this is what should be done instead, they're going to relive the same mistakes and we're going to have to replay the same exact mistakes as a country. How does that benefit anybody? So you're trying to tell me that getting rid of Washington or Lincoln, and remembering them and their legacy is a good thing because, they weren't 100% perfect as a human being, just like everybody else who ever walked this earth except for Jesus Christ? Please, give me a break. And you're going to replace it with some socialist holiday? Speaking of learning from the past, why don't you go ahead and look at what has happened in the history of the world for other countries that thought it was a good idea to be socialist. Yeah, let's see. I remember. It didn't work out too good for any of them, did it? But nowadays in the American left, because you have whack jobs like Bernie Sanders out there, yeah, guess what? We actually have one of our major political parties, a very influential sector of it, actually pushing for us to become a socialist country. No, in the United States of America, It's not just everybody gets an equal outcome. You have to work for something. If you want to achieve something, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and you get there themselves. You know what? I go to work every day. I do my damnedest every day to make a living, to make sure I can provide for me, provide for my girlfriend, do all that stuff. You know what? If somebody's not willing to do the same thing, they don't deserve my money. I'm the one busted my butt, not them. It is absolutely crazy that people in this country actually think that us being a socialist regime would be beneficial. It is terrifying as all hell. Whatever we do, we cannot elect somebody that's going to do that, and we can't completely forget our past either. That is absolutely senseless. We need to learn from the past and make sure we don't repeat our mistakes, not just try and cover it up because we don't like certain parts of it, please. The left just continues to get crazier and crazier by the day. It's pathetic. That's all the time that I have for you today, but the John Muir Show each and every weekday morning on WTAQ, WHBL, and WSAU at John Muir, WTAQ on Facebook and Twitter. Till next time, I'm out.